Hi everyone, this is just a small update. It's going to be my 3 to 4 week postpartum. Sorry if I look a bit of a mess. I'm literally tired and don't get time to do anything anymore. But I'm doing much better now. In my last video was 2 weeks postpartum. I was having a bit of a down day and things were still really hard and I still had the baby blues, and me and my partner was arguing a little bit, not arguing but not really getting on as much as I would have liked to, which was upsetting me a bit. So sorry if my last video was a bit boring and depressing but I did record it and I thought, well, I might as well put it on there, I might as well just show how I'm feeling, because people who are pregnant, counting down the days till they have their baby, they might want to be aware that sometimes you might be feeling quite rubbish or have the baby blues for 2 weeks after labour. So that's why I posted it, really, so other girls and women know, that it is normal to feel that way. It's not postnatal depression or anything, although it can be if it carries on. But anyway, it's nearly 1 month since I had Harrison and I'm feeling much better now, and things have slipped into place and there's much more of a routine going on, which is good. You kind of get used to the tiredness and you get more into more of a routine. I'm feeling good. Obviously tired. Some nights are worse than others. What can I say? I did have, before I was pregnant, I had bad IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which has come back now with revengeance, which is not very nice, but it went when I was pregnant. Through the whole pregnancy it went into like remission, which is good, but it's back now, which is a bit rubbish. I was breastfeeding Harrison, but he was on my breast all the time. I'm not lying to you, I couldn't even have an hour and a half to do something, and with Morgan it was just too hard, and I wasn't enjoying the breastfeeding as in, here's your feed, and really enjoying it and embracing it. It was like, oh, my boob's engorged, Harrison, come on, empty it type of thing. And I did enjoy it and I didn't. It's hard to explain. I think the fact that he wanted to feed so much and he wouldn't even go 2.5 hours during the night, and he also liked to suckle on my nipple for comfort, to obviously comfort him to sleep, which was hard because he wanted to be on me all the time and he wouldn't take a dummy. Also, I don't feel very comfortable breastfeeding in public, and I thought, not that I was going out and about, but I thought if I am out and about, it's going to be hard work with a toddler, 18-month-old, and a baby who's going to be on my boob for 45 minutes. Anyway, it just got to me in the end, and I was slowly giving him maybe 1 or 2 bottles, as well as breastfeeding, combination feeding. And when he did have a bottle, sometimes he'd go for longer, and I knew how much he was taking, so I was doing that for a while, and then I found that I was, obviously, like when you introduce a bottle you're more engorged, and because your boob hasn't been emptied. What I found I was doing is breastfeeding him and then topping him up with formula, with a bottle of formula, like 2 ounces, but it was too much. I was breastfeeding, sterilising bottles, so I just thought, am I going to keep breastfeeding it for 6 months? No, because I didn't do that with Morgan. He's had a good few weeks. He's had some breast milk, so I do feel bad for giving breastfeeding up, because I know it's natural and it's what our bodies have got breasts to breastfeed our son or daughter, to breastfeed our baby. So I do feel bad because it's a really natural thing to do, but it's a modern world and we rush around in our cars, in and out of shops, and we're not in all day breastfeeding. Well, I'm not anyway, and I don't think most of you are, so He's on Cow and Gate now, formula, and I use these MAM bottles. I'll just show you. He's on these anti-colic MAM bottles, which are really good. He seems to take to them really well, and they've got a funny little teat. I use Tommy Tippy bottles with Morgan, and I have loads and loads of those. So the other day I sort of filled some Tommy Tippy ones up as well, and I was giving him those bottles, and he wasn't taking them very well, obviously because they're different shaped teat. So I kind of realised I can't give him two different makes, different brands of bottles, because one teat's different than the other and both the bottles are different, so I think he was getting a bit confused. So now I'm sticking to the MAM bottles, anti-colic. He feeds so regular, even with formula. He's like, sometimes he can be every hour and a half, 2 hours. He can go a stretch of 3 hours if I'm lucky, but during the day he does like to feed a lot. When I stopped breastfeeding, because for the first 3 days of like breastfeeding and bottle feeding, like combination feeding, I kind of decided straight away, that's it, boom, I'm going to stop breastfeeding. And I did it within 1 day, because that's what happened. It was last Thursday. I was still combination feeding, and I saw the health visitor, and I was really upset because I was tired, I didn't get much sleep, and she said, oh, we'll give it breastfeeding then if you're too tired, you know. So I was thinking about it that day, and I had garlic bread in the night, and I was breastfeeding Harrison, because I knew I was putting him on bottles, and I was trying to kind of dry my milk out, but my breast was so full and engorged and painful that I thought, right, I'll just empty a little bit of my boob now so Harrison can empty a little bit of them to make the pain go away. And he was sick afterwards. About half an hour later he was like sick quite a lot. It wasn't just a little bit of spit up, it was like all down there and on his baby grow. And I just thought, oh, it must be the garlic bread, because I'm sure that happened with Morgan. So I just kind of ignored it, and then later on in the night, it's like 6 hours later, I thought, same again, I'll empty a little bit of my breast, then give him a bottle. And I did that, put him down fast asleep in his Moses basket, and went to the toilet, came back, and he'd been sick again. So I realised that the garlic bread, the garlic that I'd eaten, had gone into my breast milk, and he really wasn't taking to it very well. So I thought, after that then, I just got cheesed off, and I thought, well, that is it now, no more breast milk for him. So after that night then, I completely stopped breastfeeding and thought, I know it's going to be hard to dry my milk up, but I'm going to do it. So I went complete cold turkey. So for, the first 2 days, so last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, was the worst. My boobs they weren't huge, but they were rock hard. The left one in particular, it was always my favourite for breastfeeding on that side, was bigger than that one, and it was lumpy, hard, boiling hot, killing, absolutely killing. They both were, but this one in particular. Because for those of you who know what it's like to try and dry your milk up, when you have been breastfeeding, it is painful. But it got better, I persevered, and the one time my breast was so killing, I came home and just pumped a little bit, just for 3 minutes, just to get a little bit of the milk out, the engorged, the ducts obviously were blocked up a little bit. So after I did that, it got better. So a week on now, yeah, it'll be a week today, I get to give it breastfeeding, so it's getting better now, and my boobs are getting back to normal a little bit. Not completely back to normal, obviously, because they never will be exactly the same as they were before pregnancy. So that's what's been going on with the breastfeeding. What else? So Harrison feeds a lot, even on a bottle. He's a very hungry baby. The nights are much easier than with breastfeeding. With breastfeeding I found he'd go on the boob, take a few suckles, fall asleep, and it was quite hard, you know. But then again, when I think of it, it might be because he was so young that he was doing that. He was like falling asleep, and then you'd have to change his nappy to wake him up, and it's taken an hour and a half to feed him, although now it does take a good 40 minutes to bottle feed him, 4 ounces, 3 ounces. But I'm more comfortable with bottle feeding, so I feel a bit like he goes a little bit longer and doesn't wake up in the night so often. Anyway, enough about breastfeeding and bottle feeding. Other than that, he's a completely different baby to Morgan, my first. He's not jaundiced, whereas Morgan was jaundiced for a good few weeks. Harrison is a whingy baby. He wants to be picked up, he wants attention, he won't take a dummy, so that doesn't comfort him. Sometimes he can stay awake during the day for like 5 or 6 hours, whereas Morgan was always asleep, and I'd have to go and wake Morgan to feed him because he'd be going 3 or 4 hours without a feed. So he likes a bath. Harrison likes a bath. He hates the hiccups, he starts crying. So, you know, the first couple of weeks were really hard with, I don't know, just adapting to the fact that I've got 2 babies, both in diapers. And Morgan he always had my 100% attention. Whenever he cried or had a tantrum, I was there to hug him, whereas now sometimes I have the baby in my arms, and Morgan was really bad the first week. He was so grizzly and tantrums all the time. I think he was just getting used to the fact that there's another baby in the house. Obviously I don't think he understands, but he's much better now, which is good. But it has been, I must admit, I didn't expect it to be this tough. The first week or 2 was really hard to adapt to the routine and not having as much time to myself, not having much sleep. I just felt like, I don't know where the days go, they just go so fast. But things are looking up. I'll just show you my belly. I've got a few stretch marks on my belly which I didn't have with Morgan, which is a bit sad, but hey ho, they're not all over my belly. I look a mess today, so I've still got this podge. You see here, there's some stretch marks, don't know if you can see them. But I have lost a lot of weight. I'm not sure if that's due to stress and breastfeeding. But I do lose weight really fast. I've got to be careful, otherwise I lose too much weight. I'm like the opposite. I don't have to watch my weight really, which, yeah, so that's my belly, which is a bit like jelly. And I'll just show you Harrison. He's in here in his swing. He's in his little Fisher-Price rainforest swing. He's fast asleep. I'll record another video when Harrison is awake next time. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching my videos, and good luck with the pregnancies. Bye.